Hello there. Welcome to Paranormal Experienced. I am Kat Hobson, your host, and I am so glad you're here. We are having a wonderful time. Rick McCollum is being elusive so far. We are having some mic problems with him, but he's going to be back with us in just a moment. But I am really thrilled because I have my friend May Harrinan, and she is brilliant. She is an Irish folk singer. She is the owner of Secret Ireland Tours. She is one of the nicest women and most professional that I know, and she's here. So let's bring her in.
Hi,
Hello.
it's good to see you again. You are my dear friend, and thank you so much for that introduction. I don't really deserve it, but however, I take it. I will take it, girl.
You deserve it.
Thank you. How
So,
are you? How are you doing? I haven't seen you for a while.
well, I'm doing well. I live in Alabama,
Hmm.
and we are at that time of year where we all drive the same color car
Oh,
because of the
really?
pollen. Yes.
That's a good.
So, and I have dogs, so I have to be outside.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my. So now we also, if you can take Zyrtec, you are double dosing your Zyrtec.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just so much fun. I was
Yeah.
watching storms and stuff coming through. Hey, Lori.
Hi, Lori.
And it's so much fun to watch the dogs when you've got pollen just is floating in the air. And
Yeah.
we had storms a couple of nights ago, which kind of made it settle a little bit, but it's back to where you can actually see it in the air
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, and you can see it on the cars as well. It kind of coats the car as well, doesn't
Yeah.
it? I
Yeah.
know the funny thing is, I really didn't know much about allergies until I moved here. And they reckon that Cincinnati is in the valley of pollen and allergies. It's one of the worst places
Yes.
in America to be for allergies. And I really had no idea how severe it could be until I moved here. And I never suffered from allergies before either. But yeah,
Really?
yeah, never did in Ireland. Never had allergies in Ireland. But I get them now. But my poor husband suffers very badly from them.
Well, we do not suffer as badly as some of our friends do. But Lori, maybe that will knock your pollen down. She says they have storms headed that way in Ohio.
Yes, we're promised. Actually, they're telling us that we might have tornado watches as well, or
Ah,
tornado warnings or whatever. Hopefully, it'll. If I get blown away while I'm talking to you, Kath, you'll know what happened.
I'll go catch you as you come down here because they're blowing down here. So,
Yeah,
there's that.
yes,
But, but I am, I grew up here. So I'm accustomed to all of the things. I find that I really have problems if I go someplace that has plant life that I'm not used to.
yeah,
And I I didn't have any trouble in Scotland, but I think that's because of the rain.
yeah,
It kind of keeps it washed down.
yeah,
And when I go out to the deserts, it's not, I mean, there's nothing. It doesn't bother me at all.
yeah. Well, it's probably dry heat there as well. You probably wouldn't have pollen because you wouldn't have anything
Well,
growing.
there is because, a lot of the cacti bloom and other things too. And there's a lot of dust.
Yeah, the dust.
So, but it's so pretty. I don't even care.
Yeah,
I love the desert.
I've never been to a desert. That's something I'll have to think about doing at some stage.
Well, just hop in your car and go left.
Yes,
So
that's
that's
what
one thing about being in the, now you're from Sligo in Ireland, which
I am
is
actually.
beautifully portrayed
Behind me
behind
there.
you.
That's behind me is actually Lough Gill. That's the lake. And the Isle of Innisfree, if you ever heard that song,
Yes.
well, that's on that lake. And it's
Oh,
kind of across the way from that castle. That's called Parks Castle. And you can take a boat ride on the lake from that castle.
oh,
So
how nice.
really is beautiful, yeah. And the scenery on the way to that castle from Sligo town is beautiful as well.
So
And
it's Sligo
that
town.
dates back to maybe the 13th century, that castle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's one of the things that we met when we had what I call my ill-fated adventure
Yes.
in Scotland. But what blew me away when we were in Scotland was that I didn't get to experience it so much the first time, but last year I really did get to experience the age,
Oh, I know. Yeah.
the environments,
Mm,
and that's one of the reasons that I'm so looking forward to this tour.
yeah.
I am. I'm really. I found that there is so much to be learned just by visiting the area.
Yeah. And this particular area, Sligo, the county that I'm from, um, it would be one of the older parts of Ireland. It would be one of the first place inhabited by people. We've got Neolithic tombs scattered all over the country, all over the county, but well,
Oh,
all over the country as well. But it's very, very rich in Neolithic tombs in Sligo because all of our names, the county names, the townland names, the town names, they all have Irish names, and the older Irish names would translate to describe the area. Like, for instance, the village I'm from is called Gurteen. We spell it Gurteen, but in the Irish language, it's Gurteen. Now,
Gotine.
Gurteen, Gorti for the N. Now, if you're to translate that directly, it means wide open meadow. Okay, so
That's cool.
yeah, there's a place down about 5 miles from Gurchin. It's called Culfada, Culfadda. But if you use the Irish of it, it's Culfada, which means long wood. So you'd recognize the place when you get to it. This is the long wood.
Oh
Now,
my gosh.
Sligo, the county of Sligo, the Irish name for it is Sligoch. But what that means is Shelley place. So when people were coming up, there were wherever they came from. I don't know where they came from. Probably the Middle East, somewhere, or Africa, or wherever. But when they were on their boats coming up the west of the country, they were looking for somewhere to settle. And when they came to Sligo Bay, they saw the richness and the abundance of food because there were big, massive shells standing in the bay. And you could see the shells, parts of the land that was taken away, you could see the layers of shells. So that's why they settled in Sligo first, because they decided it was abundant with food. And to this day, you can see that. If you were to walk on the bay and the tide is out, you'd see, shells, kind
Oh
of
my gosh.
big, yeah. And you'd see it in the land as well. You'd see the layers of shells on the land as well.
That is my heart
Yeah.
because I have, you know, we're down on the Alabama Gulf Coast, and it's so fun. We do not get, because not really sure why, but we don't get the massive shells there like you get in the Keys.
Yeah.
But it's so nice just to find sand dollars, and you find pretty good size shells, but you have to really be lucky.
Yeah.
But I just think that any water that's, because it's what makes us, and it's what feeds us,
Mhm.
and it's pretty amazing. I can't wait to visit yours.
Yeah.
And I got a message from Rick that said that his computer crashed.
Ah.
And in about 30 seconds, he's going to need to buy a new monitor because he's going to punch a hole in his. That's my bud. But he is having a little bit of a struggle with his computer right now.
Yeah.
So
So
if he
that
can get in, he will.
okay. Well, sure. Look, we'll keep going anyhow, and
Well,
we'll talk about stuff.
I like talking about stuff
Yeah.
with you. We
Yeah.
do it really well.
We do, I think. Well, I think we do. We go
So
back and forth quite well. Well, that's Sligo anyhow, and Sligo can. you're talking about the Neolithic sites and the, I mean, it's ancient, and to walk on these ancient into these ancient sites, these court tombs and these underground passage tombs, and to actually feel the energy of it, Kat, is.
Yes.
And a lot of these, like the stone circles and things like that. We have stone circles in Sligo, and like they're made of quartz stones, and it takes the energy from the sky and it takes the energy from the earth, and the two
Yes.
vary, and you can feel it if you're anywhere sensitive at all. And then you've got castles like this. Like that castle has a great history, but when the Spanish Armada, if I'm talking too much,
No, this is
I
great.
like it on a
I
rant.
love learning.
I just keep talking, and I get into this. But we have one of the beautiful beaches in Sligo is called Streja Beach. And during the Spanish Armada, 3 ships were grounded through a storm on the beach. And about 1,800 soldiers were washed up. Now, 400 of them were alive. The
Oh,
rest drowned. But the British had a barracks in Sligo town, and they heard about this happening, and they went out because the Spanish were going to be fighting for the Irish, and they went out and they killed a lot of them. But one of those Spanish Armada sailors escaped, and he ended up being hidden in this castle behind me.
really?
Yeah, they hid him. They protected him. Now, the story goes he was there for many years, but I think O'Rourke was the person that owned the castle, and I think he was hung in London for treason years after that. Now, I don't know
Really?
whether it had anything to do with him hiding the guy
I
from
would bet so.
yeah, or it might have been something else. But there's a very interesting. You walk in there and it's really beautiful. There's a forge where they used to fix the shoe the horses and
Yeah.
others. Hi Nick, how are you?
Hi, Nick.
There's a lot of stuff in there. There's a sweat lodge in there. It's fantastic to visit, and the girls and the guys that are in there working, they have a tremendous amount of knowledge about the history of that place.
Well, that's one of the things that I'm so excited to be coming to Ireland about is that, I have English and Irish and Scots,
Yeah,
and not as much Scots, primarily English, but it's, well, in Irish, but it's something that, like I said, when we went to Scotland and could actually do it, see the places, I was so moved by just not just the antiquity of it, but the history that's still living
yeah,
there.
yeah.
And I mean, I had a paranormal experience on Culloden Battlefield that was very intense.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is energy where there's history.
Well, if you really logically think about it, I mean, tragic events leave an energy.
Yes, they do.
They have to. It creates an energy. These tragic events. It's not just the energy of the people there, but it has to create an energy of trauma.
Yes.
So I mean, you walk on a battlefield, or you walk into a castle like that, or you walk into an ancient ruin. Anywhere where there has been trauma,
Yes.
and even
Well,
I suppose not even trauma,
it
but
doesn't have to be negative trauma. It
yeah,
can be
it's not.
love. It can be,
Yeah, there's energy. Everything is energy.
yes.
So and especially with the brutality and the way people lived those times. I don't think there's, you can't throw a stone in Ireland, but you'll hit a ghost anyway. I do always say that. It's kind of
That would be true.
yeah, you can't go up the north of Ireland and throw a stone, but you wouldn't hit a good singer. Yeah.
You are funny. But you know what? That is real.
Hmm.
So I am resending our link to Mr. McCollum.
Okay, hopefully.
Trying to. No. And I've sent it in Messenger.
Okay.
So, but I need to send it. I am trying, guys. I really am. I promise. So, okay, I sent it. So I'm not sure what he has up his sleeve.
Yeah.
Nothing there. But hopefully he's got something.
Hope.
And Nick Belay, you had an accident? Are you okay? You have got to message me when we get through here. I need to talk, see how you are. But I hope that everything gets better for you. Oh, your knee, your leg. Oh my goodness. Carl is giving me sign language.
Oh, see,
So I'm guessing as we go. So, but whatever, Nick, I care about you and I'm so worried that you're hurt and I will be getting in touch
we
with
can
you.
see your. We
Mr.
can see your.
McCollum.
We.
And you can hear me too,
Yeah, we
can't
can
you?
hear you. Yay. Hey, Rick.
I want a freaking degree in something after this nonsense.
We can probably find somebody to give you one.
I'm going to hit. I have to buy a new monitor, though. I punched a hole in the last one.
Well, there you go.
No, I'm fine. I'm wonderful. I'm just. I
No.
don't know
Y'all
what
would not
happened.
like him when he's angry.
Everything shut down. I mean, I couldn't get back into anything. I can't use my phone to talk to you guys because I don't have.
Because it's ancient.
Yeah, picking on my phone.
I'm not picking on your phone. I'm just saying that's why it won't do that.
I'm ancient. I have an ancient phone.
I'm
Well,
ancient. I do not have
that's
an
the only one
ancient
that's
phone.
ancient, Rick. So don't worry.
As we both step up to bat there.
I have to tell May something. I'm on Coast to Coast on April 7th,
Good man.
and I plan on talking about May Hernan.
Yay.
And I asked if they would put a link inside the bio that they're going to put up for me. And they said yes. So,
Oh, brilliant. That'd be good.
There might be one or two people listening to that.
There might be
only,
a few couple.
only 3 million.
That's okay.
Bring them all.
Bring them all.
Yeah. That's okay.
Ireland would never recover from all of
When I
those.
open my mouth, I get a whatever the hell that is. The camera.
It's probably the.
You're not seeing my white teeth; they're going black.
You're fun.
It's funny because before this, I was getting orange lips.
Ah. That's why I'm way back here.
Orange lips, black teeth. It's perfect.
It's Halloween.
I'm blonde hair. I'm still going blonde, Rick. It was Rick that actually pointed out to me one night. We were talking on camera. He says, "You're blonde." I says, "I am not blonde.
Never been blonde until now.
I've never been blonde until now, but that's
Well, for those that don't know, May is recovering from cancer and doing very well. But
she's kicking its butt, is what she's doing.
She is kicking its butt because she is a fierce warrior woman.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one of the things that I have found with my friends is that once you have chemo, you don't get the hair you started with.
No.
I mean, it's like if it was curly, it's not. If it wasn't, it is. If it was black, it's gray or silver or white or blonde. Yeah. And if it was blonde, God knows what it's going to be.
Yeah. Well, I was to look at my Facebook page and look at the pictures and could see that I had jet black, long blonde hair. Black hair.
Luscious locks.
Yeah, jet black,
mm-hmm.
black hair. And never in my wildest dreams did I think that I'd end up this color. But however, we'll take it. I'm not bald. So look at, thankful for small mercies. That's the way I
I
look.
tell you.
And I was just telling Kat earlier on, Rick, this is one for the audience now. I think people will find this
Okay,
funny.
Tom.
Well, I tell them about the wig that I bought.
Yes.
When I was given my terminal diagnosis and I was told I was going on chemo, so of course straight away you think, oh God, I'm going to lose my hair. So we went out and I bought a wig.
Yes.
And I brought it into the house and I had nothing really to put it on. So I sat it on a roll of toilet paper in the bedroom, just
to have something for it
to
to
have
rest
it.
on.
So anyhow, one day I was in the bedroom, my husband followed me and he stood at the door and he's looking at me. And he's looking at me. And I'm making the bed. And he's just looking at me and he's standing there and I'm thinking, what the hell is he looking at? And I thought, is he looking at to see how I'm making the bed, or does he think I'm going to pass out? And I says, Mick, what are you looking at? And he says, oh, nothing. But he still stood there looking at me. Now I'm getting annoyed.
Right.
And I'm thinking, is he watching how I make, straight away, negative thoughts? So I looked at him, I says, now I'm getting annoyed, Mick. You need to tell me what the hell you're looking at. And he says, do you not notice anything? And I said, no. He had drawn this on the toilet roll.
How cool is that?
I like him.
Yeah.
It was hilarious when I noticed it. Well, I had to laugh, but we've had that in the bedroom under the wig up until yesterday, because I'm going to take the wig. I have chemo on Friday, so I'm going to bring the wig in and donate it to, they have a wig shop in there, so I'll donate it to the wig shop. But that's what he did. He drew a thing on the toilet.
That is so cool.
I thought, yeah. Look at
And he did a good job.
He did a good
Good
job.
artist.
I mean,
Yeah, he
she's
did a great
cute.
job. You can even see my teeth. So there's a story for everybody. You have to make the best of a bad situation.
Always.
And you have to
Always,
never
every
give up.
time.
Yeah, you have to never give up. So at least the wig that I've been looking at for the last 2.5 years, I've decided, something, I'm not going to need you. You're gone. I'm getting rid of it on Friday.
I think that's
And I'll accept the blonde hair.
Yes.
Well, I have a story to tell you something like that. When my dad was in the hospital and he was getting an MRI, and cute little nurse that was talking to him, and she leans down. I think I told Kat this, and she turned bright red. And I thought, oh, what did he say now? Right? So he's going into the MRI, and I said, what did he say to you? And she goes, he told me he'd give me $10,000 if I'd marry his stupid kid.
Obviously, he meant cash, right?
No, cash wasn't there.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And I guess it wasn't enough because I'm still single.
Yeah. That's because you run fast.
Not anymore.
That's true. You be easy catchings now.
Somebody's going to catch me.
I don't think you can be caught, Rick.
I'm too old to have anybody around.
Yeah.
Although
Except
my friend, except for who?
Except for whoever that is that talks to us when I call you.
Oh, yeah, I know.
He's got somebody in his house.
Oh, yeah, I
He's
know.
got more than one.
Have you
But
got an attachment or what?
There's,
Is there an attachment there?
didn't understand it.
is there an attachment there?
Is there an attachment? Did you bring something back from Scotland with you?
No, this has been here for long before I started going to Scotland.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so
Well, he said that something was talking to him, and we were on the phone. I was like, well, turn on your voice recorder. Let's see who that is.
and we did, and we got first thing it said sounded like an Italian guy. Go, what's up,
Yes.
you dude?
Yeah.
And do you have any history of the place you're living in now?
Well, I've lived here most of the time that it's been. I've lived here for 30 years,
Okay.
and There was an older lady, and I think she died in this apartment, but I don't think she's here.
It's not her.
I don't
Yeah.
think it's her.
Yeah, I think it's a guy. No, actually, you know what? She hasn't done it for a while. She said this just reminded me. When I'd be sitting watching TV, someone would come up and go pull my hair.
Really?
Yeah, so I thought it was her because felt like a little tug, you know, a lady's tug instead of some guy going. You know?
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, this place is interesting. I mean, I've had a few scary moments in here. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
But I tend to just stand my ground and see what happens because I'm too old to run. Put them up, see? Come on, bring them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that works out so well when they're supernatural. And I don't know if I said hi to Tom McNicholas, but he has got the hashtag in for the Fate magazine. There's a giveaway. I've been giving away, editions of Fate magazine, and some of them are really old. They're collectibles, and some of them are fairly new. But the hashtag for today is hashtag Ireland. So if you put it in chat, then at the end of the show, the computer within StreamYard does all kinds of cool things and goes, and then it spits a name out.
Oh,
So
that's great.
there's that. Hello, Jenny Sullivan.
Oh, Jenny's here. Okay.
Yes. So how lovely. Thank you.
We'll try and organize that. Jenny will join us at some stage as well.
Oh, okay. Did you give her the link?
Well, no. But join us when you go over to Ireland.
Oh, that would be lovely.
We'll try and organize that.
Oh. Did she work on the Haunted Ireland?
She was a guest. She was interviewed by Chris at Leap Castle.
Yes.
Yes, that's
I
Jenny.
saw her.
She is the top paranormal investigator in Ireland. She owns Emerald Isle Paranormal Research, and she has her own podcast. And she joined us. I was did a tour in October, and she joined us for the first few days. And I'll tell you, she knows her stuff. Yeah, and she's very familiar with all. I mean, Leap Castle is it's like her second home. She goes down to Redwood on a regular basis. She is very familiar with Hell's Fire, and the occupants of Hell's Fire are very familiar with her.
Fun.
Yeah.
Hellfire is a pretty, I've been there.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, that's the
Yeah.
cover of my book.
Yeah.
That's Hellfire.
Yeah.
Look it out. And we had some really amazing stuff happen there too. So I'm really looking forward for the people going on the tour to get to Hellfire.
Well, right behind, kind of to the corner of Hell's Fire, if you go out the front door and you turn to your right and around the corner of Hell's Fire, there is an old megalithic underground passage tomb. And the people that built Hell's Fire used some of the stones from that tomb, which is an absolute no-no.
That is an absolute no-no.
You don't interfere with, not in Ireland, you don't interfere with any burial grounds, especially ancient ones.
Well, that is everywhere. That is a rule of thumb to keep in mind.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, they did. They used some of the stones and they disturbed that grave. And but Hell's Fire itself, when we were there, Jenny gave me dowsing rods. William didn't like me very much, Rick. William, well, I don't know. We were asking him questions, and I had the dowsing rods, and Jenny said, "Where are you now?" And the dowsing rods straight behind me. He was there. He was there, and he was there a few times. He was just. It was like you just got the feeling, oh, you don't like us being here at all, and you don't like women talking to you, and you don't like women, kind of asking you questions at all.
Well, amazingly enough, there's still people with that attitude in this day and time.
Yeah.
So, which blows my mind.
But a lot of the women that did, they did call outs and things like that, they got a lot. One of them was told, one group were told to F off out of here. They were told
Really?
yeah.
Did they?
They did not.
As they should not.
No, they did not. No.
But, one of the things that I found, and I'm not comparing countries, but I'm comparing experiences in ancient sites. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But we found a lot of people recognized energy. My friend Lori, I asked her to stop doing this. She may have stopped it now. Always asks, do you recognize my energy? Do you know me? Or whatever. And she got a rude awakening when we were at Bannockburn. So, a rude response or an emphatic response. But I think that based on what I've seen in places here as well that I've been that were older, that seems to not be unusual. They'll recognize somebody's energy.
Oh,
And
I
maybe
never
that's
thought.
why Jenny gets the reactions that she does. I
Yeah,
think she's there. I mean, she investigates, and they would recognize her
yeah.
too.
Probably, yeah. I mean, because they have called her name out there a few times. She's heard her name, and she's also heard it in Lep Castle. So, maybe, yeah, that makes sense, really.
Yeah, it's I got to tell you a little story about Hellfire Club. So for the people that are coming on the tour or might be thinking about it, when we got up there, the people from Scottish Paranormal were using the Frank's box, and I went over and they weren't getting anything, and I said, "Can I try?" And they said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, I'm here. My name is Rick. I'm from America." I said, "And I came here because my relative John Wilkes was a member of the Hellfire Club." I said, and I just wanted to say hello, right? And we're sitting there, and probably 15 seconds later, it goes, "Relative?" I said, "Yeah, my name's Rick." I said, "John Wilkes is my relative," right? And he goes, "Hi, Rick," right? And everybody's sitting there just going like this. And then the next thing I said, "I need to know something. If I'll know if you're my relative or not." I said, "Did you really dress up a baboon and turn him loose into the Hellfire Club?" He doesn't say anything, and then you hear baboon.
Oh,
And I turned around. I swear to God. And I turned around. Even in my book, there's other people that were standing there that put it down that they heard it. But I looked over and I said, "Man, this has got to be an amazing recording." Right? They said, "Oh, we're not recording." I'm going to kill you.
no.
We'll talk to you next time we come on. Just
Oh, gosh.
Well, the thing about that is that the odds of none of those people recording were zil.
well, there's only two. It
Oh,
wasn't. It was actually two people who weren't members of Scottish Paranormal. They were guests,
Uh-huh.
and
okay.
because
I know Scottish paranormal guys are always
well,
documenting.
Ryan is always standing there with his DR60. I mean, he
Yep.
catches everything.
What the hey?
Should we be hiding?
That's that. No, this is Jenny is
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, what did I do?
yeah,
It's
so
all your fault.
It is all my fault.
but
It's my show. I have to take responsibility. What are you
Yes, you
talking?
do. Yes, you do. But I'm telling you, I am jonesing so bad to get to Ireland.
yeah. Well,
Yes, we may.
we want to get paid. We still have seats to sell, so that's going to be really it is. It's going to be a great trip.
It
Well,
is.
I'm excited because y'all both been there, obviously, on your
Yeah.
part. But it's so much fun to me just to contemplate what we're going to see. And Rick, while we were waiting on you, we were talking about going into Dublin and all these places that I've read about because the same author who turned me on to Croy in Scotland, which we're going to, was she's written about Ireland as well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the areas. I know that a lot of the places aren't there anymore because she was a World War II era author. But I'm really looking forward to getting to see Ireland itself.
You know what I love about going to places is seeing the stuff that wasn't set up for me to see. And you go by and you go, whoa, what's that? What's over there? I mean, you're like everywhere you're looking, I want to go there too.
Exactly. I mean, we had so many great experiences, May, the first time that we went, even though it was an atrocity of a tour. It was really fun because we were together.
Yeah.
And, we have our group of friends. The tour members were fun. And we got to interact with Gregor, and we had fun. It was just a good time.
Well, with Greg Stewart, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really, really nice. And Ryan is really, really nice as well.
He is.
Yeah.
They're good humans.
They are.
Hush.
And Lisa's lovely.
Everybody that's involved with Scottish Paranormal is good people.
They are, yeah.
They are.
Well,
they are.
Except for me.
Well, yeah.
I snuck in the back door. They didn't know I was there. But yeah, that's an amazing place. You were talking about somebody who desecrated a grave. I learned my lesson in Inverness. We've been out walking for like forever, and I need a knee replacement. And I'm still going along. And according to Lori, we'd walked 9 miles so far that day. And I'm just standing in the graveyard, and I'm looking around for a chair or any place.
This is when your knee was bad, is it?
Yeah, and I'm just sitting there and I'm looking around, and there's no chairs, there's no benches, but right next to me is a tombstone that looks like a bench, right?
It was like the box.
So I just looked down and I said, "Look, I mean you no disrespect, but I can't walk another step, right?" And I sat down. Now the whole time I was there, we were there for a couple hours, I guess. My K2 meter did not go off at all, and there was a girl that was following me around.
There's always a girl following him around.
Why don't I ever see them? But anyway, I sit down, and it's the instant my butt touches the thing, my K2 goes all 5, boom, just like that, like get off, fatso, right? And I went, are you telling me to get off? Bam, 5 again, and the girl's looking like, holy cow. And I said, look, I don't mean you any disrespect, but I need to sit down for like 30 seconds, okay? Yeah. And it flickered like 2 and 3. And then at like 30 seconds exactly, it went bam, 5 again. I said, all right, I'll tell you what. I said, do it again right now and I'll get up, right? Instantly, bam, 5. And the girl's freaking out, right? Yeah. I was kind of too, because I've never in 50 some years had as strong a reaction that way. I mean, instantly, bam, bam. It's like saying, hi, how are you? I'm fine. What do you want? I mean, it was instant. So she says, what are we going to do? I said, get up.
And did you find out, did you look to see who was?
There was nothing on there that had a name or anything. Yeah. So, but I'm going to go back. Next time I go back, I'm going to try. I'm not going to sit on him.
I don't think you should.
I would not.
Because I know he's not real fond of that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go and put my hand on his tombstone and say, hey, sorry, last time I was here, I had this turn.
I'll just say thanks for letting me take a break.
Yeah.
Because he did.
Yeah, he did. He gave you the 30 seconds, but he only gave you the 30 seconds.
Well, that's 30 seconds more than I had somewhere else. So
that's true.
Yeah. So you don't want to mess around with graves.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying about the ancient grave up in Montpellier. Yeah.
Well, I'm backing you up here. I've had my own experience. Don't do it.
Yeah. Don't do it.
Are we going to be able to see some of those Neolithic graves? Are we going to be able to visit places that have that?
You will, because again, what I will say is we have our itinerary here. I can go through the itinerary if you want. And
I'd be so excited for you to do that.
Well, you'll be arriving in Dublin September the for anyone who's listening, who's thinking about coming with us, it's going to be fantastic. So September the 1st to the 9th is the actual tour.
Yes.
So you'd be either flying in an overnight flight to arrive in Dublin Airport before 9 o'clock on September the 1st, or you could come in a day or two early and we could organise accommodation for people, and we take it from there. But we meet up at 9 o'clock in the morning at Terminal 2 in Dublin Airport.
Is that on the first?
That's on the 1st, but anyone that would have come in early, I would suggest to them to stay in a hotel that I always use, because my bus driver and my tour guide, if I'm not doing the tour, depending on chemo, I can't promise anything, but he would be coming up the night before. So anyone that might come in a day or two early would be staying in that same hotel, so they could get on the bus at the hotel, come to the airport, and we'd meet anyone that's coming in the morning.
Cool beans.
And we take it from the airport. Everybody gets on the bus at the airport and we go off from there. So we'd be going up north first, and we'd be going to Belfast. And we'd be visiting Clifton Poorhouse. Now, Clifton Poor, these poorhouses, they were called poorhouses because during the famine, people that had lost everything and they were hungry and they might have been evicted from their homes, they might have lost any bit of land that they might have had, but you're talking about really poor people. They would go into a poorhouse and they would be fed, but they'd have to work. But a lot of people died in the poorhouse, and a lot of children died in the poorhouse. It really wasn't. It was kind of like, well, we have to go into the poorhouse, but we kind of know we're going to end up dying. But the Clifton Poorhouse is the first place, and then Crumlin Road Jail. Very haunted place. And then we're going to have a kind of an early evening, because some of them will have been traveling all night long. So they won't be able to do a long day. And you have to kind of respect, that a lot of people might be tired. And it is a good 2.5-hour journey from Dublin to Belfast. But I've picked to come into Dublin because you'll be going out of Dublin, because we're going up the north, but we're coming back down again, down the south, if you know what I mean. Yes. So the next day, and this is really why, how myself and Rick got talking about him being an ambassador. I put up a post about the Giant's Causeway. It is a UNESCO site. It's about 50 million years old.
Yes.
There's many myths and legends about the Giant's Causeway. It was the most unique place. It has 40,000 hectagon columns. It's kind of
40,000?
Yeah. If you think of a desert dry, let's say there was water and then it dried up, and can you picture how the clay dries?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I've seen it.
It looks like that, but they're actual columns, volcanic material. So, cool. But it's amazing. It's beautiful. It really is. I tell you, when I had Patty Negri there, I have a video of her walking up towards, and she's looking at all this formation all over the place, out in the water and all around her. And she's actually speechless.
I find that hard to believe about Patty
Yes,
Negri.
This is the Patty Negri that we know.
Yes. We do not. This is the Patty Negri we do not know.
Yeah,
this is her odd side.
Because it's very hard, she says, to make me speechless. Because I said to her, well, I said, Patty, what do you think? And she's looking out at it. And she's just literally, she can't say anything. And she's, I'm actually speechless. I've got a video of her doing it, and I'm looking at her, I'm thinking she's speechless. So anyway, she says, it's amazing. She says, I can't believe it. So we had a great visit to the Giant's Causeway, and it is an amazing place. So we'll be going to the Giant's Causeway that day. And then there's a distillery down about 4 miles from there, Bushmills. It's a very famous Jameson distillery. It's one of the first.
We know that's where Mikey will go.
Yes. Well,
we'll never get him back.
I know, right?
You'd be experience different types of spirits
Yes.
at the distillery. And it's a great tour, actually. It's a very interesting tour because I've done it a few times now with a few groups, and it's amazing. Stuff that you don't even realize, like they got all their barley from the Republic, and they go through the whole process of making Jameson, and they even tell you about the vats that they put them in, and then the what do you call the kegs, or the the wooden things with the
Yes.
yeah, they go through the whole thing, and then there's a tasting at the end of it. So it's very interesting, and some people just like to have that tour. We come back then to Dublin, and we visit Clifton Graveyard, which is very haunted. And of course, there's Belfast being Belfast.
Yes.
There was a lot of places blown up in Belfast, and
Yes.
there's some haunted pubs up there as well. So people can take a kind of an evening and go off and experience a few haunted pubs if they want to. But anyway, that's Belfast. That's the north. And then when we're coming down, leaving the north, we're going to be visiting Newgrange Passage Tomb. It's an underground passage tomb. It's a very famous passage tomb. You can actually walk in. You'd have to stoop, but you can walk in and you can get into the main chamber. And there's 3 chambers off it. It's very much like the underground passage tombs at home in Sligo, Carrowkeel. Now, Carrowkeel is dated, it's 800 years older than the pyramids. Newgrange is,
Really?
yes, older than the pyramids.
Wow.
Newgrange is 500 years older than the pyramids. And it's directly opposite the country from Carrowkeel. It's amazing because right throughout the country then, and where Carrowkeel is, it's on the top of a mountain, and there's 14 what we call cairns.
Mm-hmm.
That's an underground passage tomb.
Yes.
There's 14 of them on that mountain, Brickleaf, not the Brickleaf. It is the Brickleaf Mountains. And at certain times of the years, the position of these cairns mirror images what's up in the sky. So you'd ask yourself, the intelligence of the people who built them, even though it's Neolithic times, it seems to me like they had a massive intelligence about, the stars and space.
That's not unusual, though, because we have a place here in New Hampshire, which is northern U.S., and there's Viking relics there. There's all kinds of things, but they call it America's Stonehenge. And it has it's probably a sacrificial stone there.
Yeah.
But it's in fact that stone was vandalized at one point, and they've pretty much, it was an act of God to try to get it salvaged, right?
Yeah.
But we have stuff like that, and the way that it's set up is astrologically important as well.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see this.
Well, you see, Carrowkeel, it's just like Newgrange. There's the top of the entrance, and then just underneath it, there's a capstone.
Mm-hmm.
And that slit in between the top and the capstone, summer solstice, the sun comes up behind the mountain, and it rises, and it goes in between that slit, and it goes into the chambers, and it lights it up. And on winter solstice, it does it to Newgrange.
Oh my gosh.
Cool.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
That is cool. I want to see that.
I
I am going to see that.
We're going to see that.
Yes.
Bums who are watching out here, sign up for this tour. Come play with us.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's going to be a good
yes.
time.
So that's Newgrange. And then that day, we're going down to Hellsfire.
Nice.
And we've spoke about Hellsfire. It is extremely active. And actually, all the woods around it are extremely active.
Those woods out in the back, there's something up with those.
Yeah.
I just stood there
about
for 20 minutes just staring at those things. There's something And I don't think it's very nice, whatever it is that's in there.
No, it's not. And Jenny was telling me about, I think it was Jenny that was telling me about what the story that there was a local girl put into a barrel and she was set on fire and rolled down that, the hill as you're looking out from the Hills Fire Club going down. She was rolled down there. And then I read something about a young farmhand who ended up going in there because he was kind of curious about it, but he didn't have a good end to his life anyhow. I mean, they did all sorts of things in there.
But you know what I love about the Hellfire Club, besides all the energy you feel? You got one of the best views.
Oh, it's fantastic.
There from out of that window. That's why I had them.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Now, as luck would have it, when we went up, it really added to the day because it was a surprise for the people that didn't know. The group didn't know that I was bringing them to Hellsfire. It was one of my secrets. And of course, we're driving and they're wondering where we're going. And as we get up closer, someone says, "Oh my God, it's Hellsfire. We're going to Hellsfire." I says, "How the hell did you know that?" She said, "Just kept seeing a sign."
And there's a lot of signs down at the bottom.
I didn't realize that there was a sign down at the bottom.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it was funny, but I thought, oh shit, I forgot about the signs. But anyhow, Hellsfire is an amazing place. So then the next day we're going down and we're going to visit Charleville Castle. That evening we're going to have an investigation. It's very active, Charleville is. And it's a castle, if you look at it from the outside, it looks like there's one tower on one end and it looks like the king in a chess game. And then the other side is the queen.
Really?
Yeah, chess pieces. They're built like chess pieces.
Wow.
That's so cool.
And when we were there before, on the tower, there's a room, a red room in the tower. So the story goes that there's a monk that was kind of attached to the bed. So I went in, there was another girl in there, and I went in and I says, "Is this the bed that the monk is attached to?" And I says, "I wonder who was the woman that slept in this bed." And all of a sudden I could hear Constance. I'm thinking, and I said it in front of Laura, I said, "Constance." I says, "That's not a name that'd be, Constance." Where the hell did that come out of? So I went out to the curator, to the guy that looks after it. I said, "Is there a Constance attached to this this castle?" And he says, "Well, that was her bedroom."
There you go.
And there was another Constance attached to there was another Constance as well that had something to do with the castle as well. But yeah, very, very haunted. And, it's just one of these places to go. So that would be on September the 4th. September the 5th, we're going to your favorite.
It's only 3 days worth of stuff?
No,
That's only 3 days worth of stuff.
Yeah.
Holy griefs.
Yes.
If I wasn't an ambassador, I'd be signing up.
Yeah, exactly. And
I know, right?
yeah.
These are just like, oh my goodness, they're such bucket list items, and we're only on 4 days.
And the thing about it is it's not an expensive tour.
Mm-mm.
It's not, I don't want to go off anywhere now and look at the price. I can't remember the price, but it's not an expensive tour. I might be able to find it. But day 5, you're going to Leap Castle, your favorite place, Rick.
Uh-huh.
Sean, right? Leap Castle.
I'm on the front of it for a long time.
No, you suffered there for a while. Leap Castle, we'd be going from Tullamore down to Leap, and then we would be going to the Rock of Cashel, which is an amazing place. It dates back to the 4th or 5th century. It's on an actual rock. It's up high. It has a round tower. It has a few churches. There's a graveyard there. The scenery from it is amazing, but the history of it is just, St. Patrick, what's the word? he converted some of the High Kings, and some of the High Kings actually were there was coronations for them in the Rock. It was a very important place, the Rock of Cashel. Before Brian Boru, I think it was one of the High Kings, he handed it over to the church. And then when it was handed over to the church, the English came. You see, we were invaded by the Normans and the Vikings and then the British.
Yeah.
So when the British were invading the country, they, of course, this was a prime place to get and to, you know, overrun and keep, you know. So Cashel, the little town that's down at the foot of it, the locals went up to the cathedral up on the rock, and they locked themselves in for safety, and they were burnt to death
Oh,
by the British soldiers. So that's a tragic happening up there. And it's, again, you know, if you're anywhere sensitive, you'd be walking around. Now, it is an active graveyard, but there's only, I think, 2 families in Cashel that have plots in it. And when they're gone, it won't be used as, you know, it won't be an active graveyard anymore. But it was a graveyard for the locals. And, of course, there's very old ancient graves in it as well. But that's the Rock of Cashel. But it's just an amazing place, even to see it, you know.
Well, I have a question, though, about Lep Castle. Is Sean going to play the whistle for us?
He will.
This
He always does.
guy's phenomenal on the whistle. He came in, we stayed overnight there, and he woke us up with the whistle.
Yeah. He's a known musician. That's how I know him first, before I ever knew about Lep Castle. I knew him as a musician. So the last day we were there, he played a few tunes, and I got up and I did some old style dancing.
Is that going to happen again?
If I was going to say if I'm alive, I will be alive. But
Be alive, for goodness sake.
if
We're not done picking on you yet. You got to hang in.
Don't bother on me, Rick. I have no intention of going anywhere, but, you know, anyhow. So that's Lep Castle, Rock of Cashel, and hopefully we'll get into Cork Jail as well. And then that's September the 5th. That's day 5. Day 6th. Oh, yeah. Now, this is just pure because I love this tour and I love what it means. There's a place called Cove. It's down in the south by the coast. It used to be called Queenstown during the British occupation. It's where the Titanic did its last stop before it left and before it ran into the iceberg. There's a museum in the building where the people would have gone to buy their tickets to go on the Titanic. And that in itself, you know, when you're walking into the building and you think this was the last building that people actually walked into before they went on that ship.
And they went away from it to leave.
Yeah, and the pier at the back of it, there's only a few, there's very little of it left, but it's actually, well, I find it very emotional to see it. There's only a few timbers left.
Yeah,
it would be. Know that it was the last place they stood before they left Ireland. And there's a very sad story with regard to the Titanic. I come from County Sligo, and there's another county beside me called Mayo. Mm-hmm. And there's a small little village there. And I can't remember the name of it now, but there was a young girl that left probably 20 years before the Titanic. And she ended up leaving when she was 15 years old, and she came over to New York. And she worked as a maid in a big house in New York. And she learned how to be a seamstress. She ended up owning her own business. And she grew that business to the point where she employed people. She did extremely well for herself. So she decided that she was going to go back to the village and she was going to pay passage and bring 14 young people from the village back to America. And she was going to set them up with jobs and set them up with accommodation and give them a start like she got. They all died on the Titanic.
That is
Wow.
tragic.
And it's only in the last 7 or 8 years that the people of the village have actually even spoke about that tragedy.
Oh, wow.
And now they're beginning to commemorate those people.
Well, that had to be such a slap in the gut to the villagers, because I'm sure that's a large population of their youth.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're only talking about probably if there was 150, 200 people in this
Right.
village, it would have been probably the height of it. If that, there might have only been 100 people in the village. And they lost her and 14 more. And
So that was their whole future of their village
Yeah,
that was
and
taken.
yeah. And she thought she was doing a great thing.
Well, she was. I mean,
Yeah.
that
what?
would.
You guys know one of the stories about that was on the Titanic? I was told this when I was a kid because one of the guys that died was super rich named John Jacob Astor.
Oh,
And we're supposed to be related to him somehow. I have no idea. I've never seen a link to it or anything, but they always told us that. And I looked up and they were talking about what happened when the ship started to sink. They said John Jacob Astor at the time had in his bank account enough to build 30 Titanics. This dude was really rich. And he gave his seat to his wife. He said, go. And she got back out of the thing. She goes, if you're here, I'm here. And they put the maid into the boat.
Yeah.
And there was another guy there that was super wealthy, and he didn't go either. He stayed on the boat. Let somebody else get in there.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's we could go on and talk about the people who were very rich and why they were on the Titanic, but we won't go, we won't go there.
No.
J.P. Morgan actually owned the Titanic.
I think that was he on there.
He, in the very end, he decided not to go on.
Yeah, that was when that's what I heard.
Yeah,
kind of makes me wonder.
There's stuff behind that. Now we won't go into it. I'll tell you at some stage again.
Well, you're going to tell me in Ireland.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. As long as you promise.
So anyhow, the Titanic, it does a great tour, and you walk in and they give you a ticket. And I don't have my ticket now, but it's a direct replica of a ticket that you would have been given if you were on the Titanic. And there's a name on it. My name was Maggie Delaney. And so you go through the tour and you've got holograms of, people who worked on the ship. You have, you can see what the bedrooms look like. You can see what all around. And then you come out and you go into the gift shop, but there's a big wall with the names of the people that were on the Titanic. And you find out if your person is died or lived. Now, Maggie Delaney didn't make it. But, as you go through the whole museum part of it, you kind of get invested in, I wonder, did she make it? I wonder, did she make it? And it's amazing when you find out either she did or she didn't. It kind of affects you. Do you get invested in this person that's on this ticket. It's. I think it's cool. I just think it's.
I think it's cool too.
Yeah, it's just.
You know what the percentage of passengers were who did not make it?
I don't know, but I think the majority of them, especially down in the third, I think most.
Well, yeah, because they were shutting off to keep the water from coming up.
So that is day 6. Day 7, we're going to Blarney Castle, Drumbeg Stone Circle.
We are going to Blarney.
Yeah. Blarney, and there's behind Blarney, there's a poison garden.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. Well, it's all these.
I mean, it doesn't sound fun.
Yeah, there's all poisonous plants, but it's beautiful, and the castle itself now, it's amazing. I remember one time I had a group of people. There were family and friends. There was a private group, so we were going to Blarney, and they were all going to go up and kiss the Blarney Stone. And they were generally quiet on the bus. And when they came back and they're sitting on the bus, it was like a cackling of hens. And I looked at my bus driver and I says, God, that thing really works. Do you
They
hear
all kissed it.
it? For shut up for the rest of the day. Well, it was blah, 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 blah. I couldn't believe it. I thought,
Okay, I have to ask, Rick,
Yes.
are you afraid of me kissing the Blarney Stone?
I think that's a better question meant for David.
Well, y'all kind of have the same opinions about my speaking skills, so
I think you should kiss the Blarney Stone.
I'm gonna. Hey, if Kyle could do it, Kyle Stewart, okay, Scottish Paranormal, they just got back, and he's got the picture of him doing it, and I'm like, I can do that.
yeah.
So,
Of course
Jeremy,
you-
I'm glad you got your hashtag Ireland in there. For anybody that's listening that wasn't earlier, go in chat, put hashtag Ireland, and you'll be entered for a drawing for a Fate magazine. So, but and you never know which one it's going to be. Hey, April, you did not send me your address, girlfriend. You need to send me your address. But I am so pumped about seeing that
yeah.
and doing that
yeah.
because I'm thrilled.
Yeah.
I'm so
Everything
thrilled about
you've said
everything.
so far sounds pretty cool. I'm looking forward to all of it.
I
Now,
know she's not even through.
Drumbeg Stone
But
Circle
you-
is out of Blarney, and you know the journey will be going along the coast from Cork down south, and the scenery and the journey is absolutely fantastic.
I have a question.
Yeah.
The haunted, the poison garden. The reason that I was excited about that is because most poison plants are gorgeous. That's how they draw you in, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't want people to think that I was morbid and going to poison anyone. You're safe to come on the tour with me, I promise. But I just was so excited because we don't have those. People don't do that.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited because I know that those plants tend to be beautiful. And I have a black thumb. So I appreciate seeing
That. Yeah.
beauty.
I was there and I walked around. I didn't walk. I don't know. I can't even remember if you can go into it, but you can see from the little pathway. And to be honest with you, Kath, I have to tell you, I can't remember.
Well, it's okay. We'll find out.
Yeah.
We'll
Anyway.
go make new memories.
Yes.
Exactly. Well, my head is gone. Anyway, don't heed me because half the time I don't remember. a lot of stuff kind of, melts into each other and I don't know,
It's all
Well,
good.
you have come to the right place.
Yes, good. But yeah, we go to Drumbeg then. It's a stone circle and there's the Druid's altar. It would be a sacrificial altar. And actually years ago, they excavated the middle of it and they found the remains of a young boy that would have been sacrificed. But again, it's one of these kind of like the sun on the summer solstice.
Mhm.
There's two high stones at the entrance, and then there's stones going around,
Mhm.
and then you've got the flat Druid's altar. So the sun comes behind the hill, behind it, and it goes straight between the two big stones, and it hits dead on the center of the Druid's altar. It's just kind of amazing that they just knew how to build all these things and they knew when to build them. And that would have happened the summer solstice.
Well, and what's amazing is that they did all of this without tools.
Yeah.
That to me is what blows my mind. And I get tickled of people that are like, oh, well, that's not possible. And oh, no, there are no aliens. And oh, no, there's not whatever. Because they got knowledge from somewhere.
They got knowledge from and they have a damn sight more knowledge than we seem to have.
Yeah. Well, they had a lot more common sense than we seem to have.
Yeah, they did. But then we go to Charles Fort, and that's a fort that was there in the, I think it might have been the 17th, 18th century. And it's 5-sided. It's right at the coast. And the story is that the captain, we'll call him the captain. I can't remember what the official word is, the guy that ran the whole thing, he had a daughter living there, and she fell in love with one of the soldiers, and she married him. And the night of their wedding, they're going for a walk around the walls, and she saw these flowers down on the rocks, and she was just commenting on how beautiful the flowers were. So there was this young sentry on duty, on watch, and he said, well, I would be happy for your wedding day to go down and pick the flowers for you, but I need somebody to take my place doing the watch. I can't leave my station unless somebody. So the new husband said, give me your coat and I will watch for you. You go down and get the flowers. So it took longer than expected. And he was down on the rocks and he was picking the flowers. And the wife decided that she would go in. She was getting very tired. And she decided that she would go in and wait for him inside because it was getting a little bit cold. And he, having had a few drinks and maybe the day was long, he sat down and he fell asleep. And the captain came along doing his rounds, looking to make sure that all the sentries were doing their job. He sees this guy sitting down with the head down asleep. And he got so enraged, he shot him dead.
Oh, my.
And he realized who it was.
Oops.
And he went back to his quarters and he shot himself. But people have said that they have seen her ghost, the lady in white. She walks around the walls of Charlesfort. They have seen her.
And there's Our Lady in White.
Our Lady in White. She's the Lady in White. Now, they haven't said anything about the husband and they haven't said anything about the captain. But she haunts it.
Well, I can see why she would.
Yeah. So that's her.
Maybe we'll see her.
You'd never know. Or you might hear her. You might hear her. So on the 8th of September, we'll be going back up to Dublin again. Now, there's where we could go into Dublin and we could do this Stephen's Green and we could do, you'll see the Liffey because we'll be going on the bus by it anyway. I don't know why she wants to see the Liffey, ladies and gentlemen, but she does.
I read.
She's going to be extremely disappointed.
That's okay. I've been disappointed before.
We'll bring her to the Liffey. Anyway, we'll go up and we'll visit Kilkenny. There's a beautiful castle there, but the town itself is like a medieval town. They have these small, narrow streets and cobblestone streets, and they've all these beautiful little quaint shops. And they have the castle. It's an amazing castle. If people want to go in and walk around the grounds, it's beautiful. And sometimes they have a market outside the castle, on the street outside. So it's just a nice place. And we can go up then and let people go to into Dublin doing a little bit of shopping, or they can come straight to Fitzpatrick's Castle. People will be staying in St. Patrick's Castle. And they can go there and just enjoy the castle. A lot of people, the only complaint that they have is that they'd like to stay longer in the castle. Right. Because there's a beautiful pool, there's 2 restaurants, there's 2 bars, there's a dungeon bar. It's just a lovely place. And if you wanted to go star hunting, Bono lives down the road. Van Morrison lives somewhere in the general area. Enya, very famous singer, she has a castle not too far away from that one. So people could just take a jaunt down the street and have a look to see who they could see. But that's the night before. And usually we have a group meal there as well. And they give us a room to ourselves to do a group meal. And then the next day, I bring people back to the airport. So that's the whole tour.
That is so fun.
Yeah.
And I do want to see the lithium, but I'm not really locked in on it.
Yeah.
But I do want to see Steven's screen, even
Yeah.
if it's driving by.
Now let me just see. I'll just let you know if I can find it. Give me a second now. Hold on. As they say, no the one Moshe the Hella. That means 1 minute, please. I'll teach you a little bit of Irish now as well. It was very funny talking about the Irish language. When we were in Ireland in October, we were in Ardgillan. And a lot of these castles had local children working in the kitchens. So they were calling out and there was nothing happening. And I said, I wonder if I spoke in Irish, maybe there might be some reaction. And there was, I thought it was a little girl, but some other person said, no, it's a boy. I didn't know. What do we see? Ghost encounters. Now I will tell you. We're getting there. All right. Wait for it, people. $2,350 for 9 days.
It's a
Staying in
steal.
one of the nights. I mean, sometimes if you wanted to look up some of the castles in Ireland, you might pay €1,000 a night for them.
Yes.
No,
But
that's
yeah,
a lot less than I thought it was. I've never looked at the price, but that's much less than I thought it would be.
That's per person sharing, and
Yes.
it's a little bit more expensive for a single occupancy because hotels in Ireland sell based on 2 people.
Do I get to pick my person? That well,
You can do what you want, Rick. But now. I mean, I personally, I pride myself on trying to give as an affordable tour as I can. And
no, that sounds like you did a pretty bang up job there, May. That's more than fair. By the way, we may go bar hopping just so I can see if there's any bartenders named Siobhan.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. I might put out the call, Rick. I might put out the call. Come on, Rick is looking for you.
Well, I tell you what, if we find her and you walk away, I'm kicking you in the shins.
Yeah.
I never should have told people the secret.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you won't get a better price than that.
No, I'm a cheap guy and I'd go.
Yeah. And it's not like we're staying in good hotels. We're staying in the castle. You've got the castle and you have all this other stuff. You have what? How many investigations? 4 or 5 investigations.
Well,
and they're good investigations. I mean,
Hollywood's Rick McCallum.
Yes.
From Hollywood Ghost Hunters. Hunters.
Yes.
Now and we've got Cat. I mean, what else do you need, guys?
Well, I tell you what.
People are going on that tour too.
Yes.
Because I know some of them.
Yeah.
I know some of them too.
Some of them have been on the show. And I will say that, and I'm going to put this out here. Mikey Thompson is one of the best ghost hunters I've ever investigated with. He is a tech guy. He is a drone guy. He is a sensitive, and you will get to investigate with some of, 3 between Lori, you, and Mikey. 3 of the best ghost hunters I've ever worked with.
Yeah,
are going to be on this tour.
Well, you might feel bad yourself,
Thanks. I just love it. So I'm, and we were talking about Jenny Sullivan, and she is because I know we haven't met, but I do know how good she is.
Oh yeah, she is. She's
so
top.
Because when I saw her name, I was like, yep, I know who that is.
Yeah, Jenny is. She's a top investigator, and she really knows her stuff. Mm-hmm. So hopefully we'll get her to hang out with us.
Well, it says she lives not too far from Hellfire.
She lives actually only down the road from Newgrange.
Oh, okay.
So she lives about, I say, about 40 minutes from Hellfire, but she knows it. She has investigated it on numerous occasions,
Mhm.
and she's
She was just at Limp Saturday. She's reviewing evidence right now.
Yes, she was doing. She had a great night in Lep Castle. They had a great night. I was talking to her the other day, and she was working on the audio,
Mhm.
and she got a lot of stuff in Lep Castle.
Well,
And
I gotta tell you, May, just from the people I know, the ghost hunters and stuff, the ghost hunting things you said we could do on that tour, leaving everything else out, every one of them that I know would pay what you say the tour's for, and then they get all that other stuff too.
And they get scenic stuff, and there's, I don't know, what
No,
more
it's
can I say?
very fairly priced.
Yeah. Well, I don't believe, Rick. I remember when I used to live in. I do this because I want people to go and see Ireland.
Yes.
Basically, that's what I want. I want people to see Ireland, experience Ireland. I want to bring business home to Ireland. And I remember when I was living in Ireland, I lived in this small village, and we would do our shopping in a town that was 10 miles away from me. And there was a 12th century abbey, the ruins of a 12th century abbey there. And on a regular basis, I would watch these big buses, 50-seater buses. And I'd watch these people jumping out of the bus and taking photographs and then jumping back in. And I used to think, what the hell are they doing? Why would they even waste time? Sure, they don't even know what they're looking at.
Yeah.
They're not hearing any of the history. They're not hearing any of the folklore, any of the myths or legends, and they're not sensing the place. They're not even getting to walk in and have a look inside. And you walk into this place and you can only imagine the magnificence of it in its heyday. You can still see it, even though there's no roof on it or whatnot, but there's stone carvings and it's just an amazing place. So I used to watch this happen on a regular basis, and I used to think, geez, that's an awful waste of money and time. You jump out of a bus, you take photographs, and in 10 years' time, you look at that photograph and you'll have no idea where it was.
Absolutely.
So then I came over here, and people would say, where are you from? And I'd say, I'm Irish. And they'd say, oh my gosh, I was in Ireland. And I'd say, what part of Ireland were you in? Oh, we were all over. And then I'd say, well, did anything stand out to you? They couldn't tell me, because
Exactly.
they've been rushed from one place to another, to another, to another. And they wouldn't have got an opportunity to walk in and get a sense of what they were looking at or learn any history whatsoever. And they would be charged a ridiculous amount of money. And
Well, I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Let's
I
go
am
now.
too.
Let's go now. I'll meet you there.
Yeah, wouldn't I love it?
One day I'm going to go to Kong, and I want you guys to go with me.
Kong.
Kong.
Oh yeah, that's where the Quiet Man was filmed.
Yes, my favorite movie.
His favorite movie of all time.
Talking about Quiet Man, Henry Ford, the director, or was it John Ford? What was his name? John Ford.
John Ford.
John Ford was my next door neighbour's first cousin.
Really?
And you know the Galway shawl that Maureen O'Hara had on her during that movie? She had a shawl. You might not remember it now, but it was a beautiful Galway shawl. That belonged to Evelyn's mother.
Really?
Yes. And Evelyn's mother gave it to Maureen O'Hara to keep.
Oh, how nice.
Mm-hmm.
You know what John Wayne said about Maureen O'Hara?
Say that
again? Yes, I know.
They asked John Wayne, they said, well, you've done 4 movies with Maureen O'Hara. What do you think about her? And he goes, toughest guy I ever met.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, so that was John Ford and Evelyn. Evelyn was from Spiddle in Connemara. She was an Irish speaker. And I think they were originally going to film that somewhere else. And I think because that family were there, they decided to use Kong instead.
It's just a weird name for a city. In
It's not even a city. It's
Kong.
a very, very small village.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there's the Ashford Castle is just outside it. Ashford Castle is like, it's an let the audience just look up Ashford Castle and check to see how much it is for B&B for one night in Ashford Castle. And then you will realize how much of a bargain this tour is, because you get to stay in an authentic 17th century castle, which is now a 4-star hotel, just
You know,
south of Dublin.
one of the things that I like about your tours, and because I know people, right, who come and go, and is that you do not oversell. You
Yeah.
really don't. When we first met and you were affiliated with the person that wound up, you had to leave because of the behaviors already. But, we didn't get to do half the stuff that we had been promised to do. And if it had still been you, I know that we would have.
Yeah.
Because when I was at Stirling Castle, where they had never heard of us and we weren't able to get, they were having to fight to get our tickets and stuff, and I called you.
Yeah.
And I said, "What's up with this?" And because it was being sloughed off on you as being the causation of the problem. And so I had already seen enough and could read the individual, and I knew that you were not the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And you were so apologetic. And
But
you were so.
I really can't. I felt bad because the thing.
Well, you did, but it wasn't your color Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
But I have enough confidence in you that the minute this came up, I was signed up.
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
I do trust you, and I do know that this is going to be one of the best times ever. And, because seriously, we had to go back and do our own tour of Scotland.
Yeah, I know.
And we did that this year.
Yeah.
I made my own tour of Scotland, and I brought my crew with me.
Yeah, but that was
Rick McCullum Invitational Ghost Hunt.
Yeah, but that was a brilliant thing to do, actually.
Well, and it was a beautiful way to see the country.
There'll always be, well, there won't always be. Let's say, for instance, now in October when I was there, we had 2 hiccups. One of them, there was absolutely no way. I had planned. I always like to put secrets in the tour.
Yeah.
And one of the secrets we had worked, I don't know who that is, but somebody might be checking in looking for a friendship. Anyhow, we had worked on, myself and Jenny actually had worked on doing a nighttime investigation in Ardgillan Castle. We had visited Ardgillan Castle and we had done a short investigation, but we had planned on giving them a surprise and getting them to do a nighttime investigation. And Jenny worked hard on getting this set up. And I didn't know whether we were going to be able to pull it off or not. So it was going to be a surprise. If it worked, it worked. If it didn't, we would go somewhere else. We would stick to the itinerary that I had for the last day going up to Fitzpatrick's Castle. But we were supposed to go to Drumbeg. And the particular bus that we were given was a brand new bus from the company. And the bus driver wasn't confident bringing it up the narrow road up to Drumbeg. So he wasn't happy doing that. And I says, well, if you're not happy, I says, we just won't do it. And then, so that was, Drumbeg was out. We didn't do Drumbeg, but they did see a stone circle at the back of Kinnetty Castle. So one way or another, they got to see a stone circle, right?
And you made it so.
And we made it so. And I was so excited because a week before the tour, we had pinned down the investigation in Ardgillan. And I was thinking, oh my God, they're going to so love this. We're driving up to Dublin. And as we're going into Dublin, the traffic is horrendous. And Keith says to me, I don't think we're going to be going up to Ardgillan. I said, why? He says, there's a massive accident on the M1 up north.
Oh, wow.
I says, oh, please don't tell me that. And he said, well, we'll keep going, because we had to be in the castle for our group dinner, and we were going to be leaving at 7 o'clock. And I thought, at that stage, it'll be cleared. It wasn't cleared until 9 o'clock that night.
Oh, my word.
And we
What a
couldn't go.
bummer.
There was no way. It wasn't cleared until 9. So things like that happen, and there's not a thing you can do about it.
There's not. And that is a tour operator's worst nightmare.
Well, that was the first time that had ever happened. That was the very
Well,
first.
yes.
You know,
But it is the thing that, there's always the possibility.
But the only good thing about it was that nobody was expecting it until we did say to them on the way up, I says, we're not going to be visiting Cahir Castle because we want to get up for dinner, because we're bringing you on a nighttime investigation in Ardgillan. And they were so excited. And then we're driving into Dublin, and the traffic is, and I'm thinking, we're not going to make the castle before 5:30. We're not going to make the castle for the dinner. And that was my worry, because I thought this is bound to be cleared by the time we're finished dinner. No.
Yeah. Well, I need to interject here, because we are almost at time to do the drawing for the magazine.
Oh, good.
And if you haven't already, put #Ireland in chat, and you'll be entered. The computer does the whole thing, and it will just absolutely spit out a name. So again, #Ireland, pop it in chat and we'll get you. So, I think that, oh, okay, I see him. But I thought I lost Rick. But I am so, because you care. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people have heard me talk about my previous experience with a paranormal tour.
Mm-hmm.
And because it was not as it should have been, it was not as it should have been. And
he's laughing.
I just, it was the difference in the character of the people involved with this. I'm so looking forward to going with you.
Yeah. And you see, the thing about it is, Kat, like, the way I work, I have nearly everything paid off before we ever leave this country at all.
Mm-hmm.
When I walk into a hotel with all my group, the keys are there on the counter,
mm-hmm.
waiting. We don't even have to register because it's already done, because I've sent the list of names to all the hotels.
Yes.
And I just hand out the keys. It's as simple as that. And with all of, either I buy the tickets and they send me the tickets to an email, and I've got all the tickets.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's how you do things.
Or they're in an envelope waiting for me because I've got my receipts.
Yes.
Like, for instance, in October, we were in Christchurch. I've got my briefcase, and I have every confirmation email from every single venue in that briefcase. And just as well that I do, because, for instance, these things can happen.
Mm-hmm.
I ring on the way to a venue. I'll ring them and I'll say, May with Secret Ireland Tours, we're due to be there at such and such a time. We might be 5-10 minutes late, because I want to cover myself in case we are. And they know that we're coming, and they know we might be late.
Mm-hmm.
So we leave Christchurch, and they had a fantastic tour in Christchurch. It really was good. And we're going out to Malahide Castle, which is a very haunted castle. So before I leave Dublin City at all, I'm ringing Malahide. Hi there, this is May, Secret Ireland Tours. We're due to be there at 3:00. I might be 5-10 minutes late, depending on the traffic. Who did you say you were with? I said, Secret Ireland Tours. She says, we don't have you in the system. Really? 3:00? Secret Ireland Tours. She says, no, we don't have you in the system. I says, well, you should have. I says, I have it confirmed. And she says, And who confirmed with you? And I said, hold on a minute, and I'll just get the email. And I pull out the email, and it was Rachel. I says, a girl by the name of Rachel. Oh, she says, oh yeah, she's a colleague of ours. I says, well, I have an email telling me that I'm booked in the system. And she says, okay, that's fine. Come on ahead. If I couldn't name that person, if I
Yep.
didn't have my confirmation email, we might not have been let in to Malahide.
Yes.
So you have to have your confirmations. You have to be able to prove that you were booked. And with regard to the hotels, you have to have them prepaid. You cannot take a chance on landing somewhere and thinking that, oh, this is Scotland or this is Ireland. They need us. They need our custom. They don't. They are overwhelmed with visitors.
Yes. Well,
You know,
particularly in the spring, early summer, or fall.
yeah, these places are always thronged.
Mhm.
That's why I have to get people to book and secure their spots early so that I can book and secure everything early as well.
Well, I think that. Are you getting your QR code gathered up there, sir? Or are you opening candy?
No, it's picking up a thing, but there's my QR code right here.
Right there.
There's
You can scan
anyone who
that.
wants to look that, scan that, and that will bring you into a jot form. You put your name, your email address, and your phone number, and you can tell me whether you just want information or you want to sign up. I'll contact you and I'll send you an email. I'll give you the links for the WeTravel site and the payment platform, and all the information is on that site, and you can have a
Yes.
look yourself then. And I think it's $300 to secure your place.
I don't
And
remember how much it was, but
I think it's a deposit of 300. Let me just see. We'll find out.
which
now.
is still sweet because you're getting all of this stuff
Yeah, deposit $300.
and you're going to be able to see all the things that May has described. Plus, I mean, because I know her, there's probably going to be plus tucked away in there somewhere.
Yeah, I'm not telling you.
And you get to investigate with Rick McCullum.
That's me.
You get to investigate with me.
That's her.
And we have so much fun when we do this. And I'm going
And
to tell you,
you've got other investigators.
we've got great investigators.
Yeah.
So we've got Mikey, we've got Lori, Denise and Ron Pridemore are coming of Paranormal Pride. I know you know them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's so much fun to be had.
Well, there's, I think my three cousins signed up.
They did. Yes.
You looked at that. Yeah, good.
Yes, they're on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really kind of surprised by the price, because I'd never looked at it, and
yeah, well, you would expect it to be probably close to twice that price.
Yeah, and I'm like,
with
wow,
most people, it probably would be.
I don't mind telling people what it costs.
To be honest, I'm not. Do you know when you nearly die twice and you're on your deathbed and you're lying there and you're thinking, I might not make it tomorrow?
Yeah.
Money is the very last thing you think about.
Yeah.
Money is the very, very last thing you think about. And, I'm not saying I don't want to make some money, but if I broke even, I'd be happy enough. I would prefer to fill it and have everybody happy. I mean, it's a great price. So we need 25 for this tour. And there's still availability. And I think the registration date is May the 7th.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone who's thinking about, just secure your place anyway. And I do an installment plan if anyone is interested in doing that, an interest-free installment plan. If it makes it easier for some people, we can do that. But it really is, and if you're not into the paranormal, you don't have to be into the paranormal. You could come as a vacation and just come with us and see all these places, because these places are places I'd be bringing people to anyway. It's kind of like this behind me. That's Parks Castle.
Yes.
It's Sligo, and it's one of my places that I bring people. And then
it's her local castle.
Yeah, that's Loch Gill. outside Sligo, and there's a great Rose of Tralee boat tour that I bring people. Sometimes that's a secret. I don't like to but sometimes people don't know that they're going to go on a boat tour, and they get to drive the boat as well. And it can be, yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, I've got videos of people doing that. Yeah, it's good fun.
Yes. Well,
So,
I just am so enthused. I am, even if, we're going to just be going everywhere.
yeah. You're going up north, you're going down south, you're going to the middle.
And, I neglected to mention Lori Dorsey. Lori is one of the best paranormal investigators also, between Mikey, Rick, Lori, and Denise. Denise is not as much fun to investigate with because she knows everything. She's psychic. So you just have to go, don't tell me.
Yeah.
But we all have those moments, right?
There's other people I know that signed up that are ghost hunters too, and I can't think of their names right now. I think it's Gina Neal
and Stephanie.
And Stephanie.
They're both on the list.
Yeah, they're good ghost hunters too.
They are really good ghost hunters. And Gina, both of them are such fun people.
We're going to have a good time, May.
Yes.
We're going to have a good time.
Good time. And usually, like when people say to me, what's the weather going to be like? I can't tell you what the weather is going to be like, because it could be 4 seasons in one day over in Ireland.
That's
but
true.
Normally in September, when the kids go back to school, it's normally good. And actually in October, when I was over there, we only had rain a day and a half, and it was mild. And we went to a few Halloween parades, and actually when we were standing in Galway, I was surprised because it was warm. That evening it was actually warm. And even down at the parade, they had 2 Halloween parades. They had one in Galway and they had one in Cork. They really had a great tour. We got to stay in a secret. I can't tell you the name of the castle because we're doing it again in September. We got a castle to ourselves for 3 nights. Very, very active.
Fun.
Yeah. And for 3 nights, we had a castle. And then we stayed in Fitzpatrick's Castle the night before we left. They had Hellsfire was a surprise. Brought them up to Hellsfire. They didn't know.
Oh, man, what a cool surprise.
That is a cool surprise.
And I brought them to a place, which I'm kind of disappointed about. I brought them out to a place called Middleton in Cork. There is this amazing monument to the Choctaw Indians. And we have a great affinity with the Choctaw Indians because during the famine, they sent over at the time, it would have been a lot of money, and they sent over maize and corn to the Irish people because we were starving. And this would have been about 15, 16 years after the Veil of Tears. Now, I have no idea how the Choctaw Indians found out about the Irish famine, but they did. And we have great affinity. So there's a massive monument to
it. It is a huge monument.
It's 9 big feathers, and it's beautiful. And I really thought that people would really appreciate seeing it. So it was one of the secrets. And only about 9 or 10 people got off the bus.
Really? That's such a huge international gift.
I couldn't believe it.
Well, not gonna lie.
I had told them what it was. On our way, I had told them the significance of it. And one particular woman said, when was it erected? And I says, oh, do you know something? I don't know. So I says, but I'll look it up. In a review that she did when she got back, which I think was inspired by our mutual friend, she said that I had no idea I had no knowledge of the monument at all. I couldn't tell them anything about it.
Well, I don't think our mutual friend wouldn't mind shooting me.
Probably doesn't particularly want to have me around either, but I good luck to her. I don't care really,
Well, I'm going to tell you that what you put out, you get.
Yeah.
And it's really that tour, as bad as it was, brought me some very dear friends.
But that's the, you see, you have to see
And
something on everything. Yeah.
yeah, so I was so fortunate to have gone on that, even though I was abandoned on the side of a road in Kirkcaldy, but that's okay. Lori was abandoned with me, so it wasn't by myself. But it was so um for the part that was traumatic, that created the environment that made the friendships rock solid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, the friends that we made, Rick was already friends with them, but the friends that we made in Scotland are rock solid friends too.
Yeah. That's the great
And
thing. You know, that's the great thing about tours. You're on a bus with all these people. And I was saying it before, Kat, I might have said it to you before. You know, like I watch people coming in from an airplane arriving in Dublin airport, and you know, they're kind of nervous and they're kind of shy and don't say too much, and they don't know each other, and they're introduced, and the day after you can see them loosen up a little bit, but by day 3 you can see people talking to each other.
it's a community.
Yes, by day 4, you're watching it. You're
Yeah.
watching them all melting together. And
Yeah.
it's fantastic. And then by the end of the tour, you're hearing, you know, day 5, you're hearing laughter, you're hearing jokes on the bus, you're hearing all sorts of stories. And then by the end, you bring them back to the airport and they're hugging each other and they're swapping phone numbers
Yes.
and they're crying, and you know, you have to keep in touch, and you have, and then you come back to America and you're looking at Facebook and you're watching these people connect with each other and
Yep.
stay connected. And the amount of people, I have some fantastic people I have met and become friends with through these tours. It's, do you know, it's amazing. It really, really is. It's amazing. The great people for all, you know, you once in a blue moon, you might get 1 or 2 nasty people, but generally they're very good, nice people.
I think so too.
Yeah.
You can refer the nasty people to me.
I will.
I travel with my own bouncer. So-
For you. Good for you. But you know,
but I'm going to tell you that it really is a community. Once you get there and you get used to the how things flow,
yeah,
it's so much fun. And it's such a gift to be able to spend time with these people. I mean, we were Rick's cousins that are coming. We had some of the best bus rides because of the singing.
yes,
right.
And the
my
joke,
friend who
storytelling, it's fantastic.
Well, my friend who lives in, at the time she was in Toronto, now she lives in Newfoundland, but her name is Caroline. And for all of our friendship, anytime that I am anywhere that's playing Sweet Caroline, her phone's ringing. Whether I'm in a bar in Key West, whether I'm in Birmingham, if I'm on a bus riding through the Scottish countryside, she got to listen to Sweet Caroline.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and everybody was bum, bum, bum right in her ear. It was fantastic. And she was like, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm on a bus in Scotland." She said, "Shut up."
Yeah.
So, and I was like, "No, really?" She said, "No, I mean, really, shut up." But really.
Do you remember all of them people like Kathleen Burns and Jay Bloomkey and everything else? They're all sitting there, and when this song came on, and right at the times you're supposed to react, they're all like going, boom, boom. And these were some of the biggest people in the
paranormal
TV stuff. I mean, they were. I mean, we could have done well. We actually did have a pretty good thing that happened at Balgony.
We had a great thing that happened at Balgony.
Was that where the Laird was talk to you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, she was with me. So was Mikey. So was Lori, and we were doing a ghost hunt along with the Scottish paranormal people. And I had become very close to the Laird. He told me secrets that he didn't tell anybody else. I mean, it was pretty cool. But we went back there. We were in a little room, which I'd never been in. And
He was disconcerted by the room we were in.
well, I thought we were going to be in one of the big ones and stuff. And actually, one of the girls came down and said, "Do you want to change rooms?" I didn't make a fuss about it.
No, you didn't. No, but I mean, you didn't know the room.
Yeah, but I thought, I thought my friends would like to be in one of the big hallways, and all that stuff. But this was a small place, but we put up all this equipment. I mean, K2 meters, MEL meters, REM pods, everything that could go off, we had in there. And Kat was sitting next to me. And as soon as we sat there, I said, "Is there anybody here with us?" All three of the K2s we had spiked up to 5 and stuck. We couldn't get it unstuck. I mean, that's how much power hit it.
Wow.
What did it look like right behind you, Kat?
It looked like the light was climbing the antenna. It was the most bizarre thing, because it's weird, because as I'm looking at it, I'm seeing it, and it looks like lightning going up the antenna. But on the video, it doesn't look like that. So, that was absolutely the strangest thing I've ever seen. And it was obviously, the funny thing is Rick is sitting there, and I'm going to have to rush this, but Rick is sitting there, and he's like, "Well, obviously this is somebody that knows how to use paranormal equipment."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah, everybody was looking at me like, "Hello, hello."
And so finally, you can see the light dawn. And he's like, "It's the Laird." And the equipment goes crazy again. And so he and the Laird got to have a conversation final conversation.
Yeah.
But we are about to have to do the drawing.
Yes.
So, Carl, are you ready? There it is.
Ireland.
That's your hashtag. I hope you got it in there.
Oh, look at that. That's cool.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
Yay!
Oh, congratulations.
That would be
Carl.
Carl. Woo!
Congratulations.
Yes.
Nice.
So, and he never does that. I'm so glad that he did.
No, that was really cool.
I know. Isn't that neat? Have you not seen that? It's so fantastic.
Yeah, that really is cool.
Well done, Carl.
Lori has won, I think, 3 now. Tom McNicholas has won. I think it's just been Lori and Tom. And now Carl.
There you go.
So, yay.
Congratulations, Carl.
And Lori gets hers when we get to Arkansas. But I mailed Tom's. I didn't get, and April Mueller, who is Denise Pradmore's cousin. I didn't get her address, and she said that she sent it, but I didn't get it in my mess. I wonder if you have my old Facebook. We'll talk later, April. But anyway, so it was, and I mailed Tom's, and I didn't know that you had to put extra postage on for magazines. So it's gone back out now.
Send it media rate.
Well, I know that now. I've never mailed a magazine before. So
I mailed you a book.
That's true. Which, by the way, is really good. You did as well.
I didn't even need to write the books. All I needed to do was have the 2 forewords, and I'm happy.
There you go.
Kat gave me a great foreword, and then Jay Blumke, who was one of the guys that started Ghost Hunters. They both gave me these. I didn't even know who they were talking about. It was so glowing. It's like, who is this guy? I want to meet him.
I know, right? Do that, Tom, because I'm waiting to hear somebody's got to get a magazine. So Lori gets hers when we get to Arkansas.
Well, I'm waiting for a special issue, by the way. Yes.
But just so y'all know, I will be at the Eureka Springs UFO conference. Not this coming weekend, the next weekend. So if you're in that area, come say hi. I'll have magazines there too. So
can I ask you something special?
Yeah.
Because I kind of think I didn't hear. How much was the tour?
2,300 and Hold on a second and I'll tell you. But no, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. 2,350 per person sharing. And then for a single occupancy, it's 2,550. That's
I'm-
that's
I'm
dollars.
flabbergasted by the prices. I mean, the prices are so fair.
Yeah.
They
Well,
really
they
are.
are.
Well
Compared to
done.
our experience, because we know what it costs to go for that long.
Yeah. And as I said, we're staying in a castle the night before you leave.
Yeah.
And you know, all the stuff that's involved. It'll just be a great time. So if anyone is interested, can you put up the QR code again, Rick? If you want to scan and put your name, if you can scan that and put your name on the jot form, I will
Go
contact
that
you.
way.
I'll give you the links.
There you go. Other way.
I'll give you the links, and
There.
you can look at the links, and then you can. But if you're interested, get
This
your
does
name.
not.
Yeah.
This does not include airfare. You have
No,
to do your own airfare.
doesn't
That
include
is the actual transportation, lodging,
and
and
breakfast in the morning. We
Yeah.
don't cover lunch or evening meals or the airfare, but that's or travel insurance. But
Oh,
that's
I can tell you, if you're having breakfast for me and Mikey, you might have to raise them rates.
the 7th of May is the final registration date.
yes.
So I would advise people, because we have a good few signed up already. So we have kind of limited availability at this stage. So if anyone is interested now, secure it with a $300 deposit, and then I've got the installment plan if anyone is interested in doing it that way.
Yeah, and
But
if any-
Tom and Nicholas, if you want to go first class, you are welcome to buy that ticket. Although I will tell you, if you're flying, if you're doing an overnight Atlantic flight, I would suggest first class. Definitely comfort class.
Mhm.
So it's
what
worth
happens
it.
in the lottery? Geez, I'm way in the back in the luggage area where they.
I am too.
Well, I'm just saying, because if you have problems with your legs, maybe you would want to do that,
Mhm.
because I do.
Yeah.
So it's worth the effort. But I save in other places.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
no, I'm still kind of flabbergasted by the price being that good.
I know,
Well
right?
done, May Hernan. Well done.
Thank you very much. I work hard. I do my very best to try and make it happen as affordable as because I pride myself on giving an affordable tour.
And a wonderful tour.
Mhm.
So, guys, we are out of time. I'm just so pleased to have you here.
Well, thank you so
Because-
much, Kat, for having us.
Well, and May, we haven't had we talked, but we haven't had a chance to do a show in a long time. So
Yeah.
this was fun.
It was, and it went
mean-
very fast.
Well, it always does.
Not
Yeah.
for me. I only saw about 3/4 of it. Stupid computer.
Well, but you
After
got
we hang
here.
up, after we sign off, May, can you stay there so I can tell you something along with Kat
Yeah.
Sure. We'll be here.
behind the scenes?
Yes. And Lori said, great show.
Thank you, Laurie.
So thank you. And for everyone listening, thank you so much for being here. We will see you next week. Same cat time, same cat channel. Be blessed and go out and have a great week.
And sign up for the tour.
And sign up for the tour.
Oh, do.
I want you guys to come out and play with